Rob Dauster here. I got Jeff Goodman with me.
Hell no.
John Fink.
Are we still live?
Field of 68 till I die.
I'm sorry, man. I blacked out.
Randolph Children.
DJ Khaled, you know the big DJ Khaled guy?
Hands thrown up and in.
Goodman needs to be fired all the time.
Josh Pastner. You're going to beat people straight up.
You know the deal.
They have no swag. They have no nothing.
Terrell McNeil.
From the bluest of the blue bloods to the smallest of the mid-majors.
This is Field of 68 After Dark.
Hello, and welcome into a March 13th, 2024 edition of Field of 68 After Dark. As always, you guys know where we are. SiriusXM. We are on YouTube. We are on X. We're on Facebook. Stadium, as always, here. And we're coming to you an hour later than usual. We will have a third panelist tonight. I can promise you that. It'll be Jeff Goodman. He's currently at the Big 12 tournament. And he'll be joining us in just a little bit, hopefully with some news. That's Rob Dauster. I'm John Martin. A lot to get to tonight. We'll catch up with Eric Henderson from South Dakota State. We'll catch up with Pat Kelsey. Hopefully we have time for a few others here on the show. Rob, before we came on air, you were on one. You were on another level tonight, and I guess that's a good place to start with some unexpected late-game heroics from Villanova. Took everything to get past DePaul and save their season tonight in the Big East tournament. They're moving on amazingly after a game-winning three-pointer there. 58-57 is your final. Eric Dixon, big shots, 21-9 tonight for Villanova. But them being in the tournament doesn't necessarily sit right with you, does it, Rob Dauster?
John, give me an honest answer on this, all right? I want your sincere opinion. Should Villanova's season be saved? Does it deserve to be saved? Like, they're sitting here right now. They are 18 14 overall.
I would say they're not worth it.
They're 18-14 overall. They lost to St. Joe's. They lost to Drexel. They lost to Penn. They lost at home to St. John's. They have 4 losses outside of the top quadrant, right? They are 4-10 against quad 1 opponents. Why are we saving their season? Why does their season need to be saved? They like the idea that because they go into the Big East tournament and they go into Madison Square Garden, and if they find a way to beat a Marquette team that, oh, by the way, doesn't have Tyler Kolek, and they win that game and they get in the NCAA tournament at what? They'll be 19-14, and then they lose to Creighton. They'll be 19-15. We're going to send a 19-15 Villanova team to the NCAA tournament over teams that won 29 games, over somebody like an Indiana State, who everybody wants to see. Not a single person in America outside of the main line wants to see Villanova in the NCAA tournament with 15 losses. Okay, I understand that Indiana State lost to Illinois State at home. I understand all that. I understand the loss at Southern Illinois, which, by the way, is not as bad of a loss as losing to St. Joe's at home or Drexel on a neutral or at Penn. For the record, why should we save their season? I'm sitting here right now. I'm a Big East guy, right? I'm going to the Big East tournament tomorrow. I'm going to be up there for all 4 of those games. I can't wait. By the way, there is nothing better than Madison Square Garden this week in March when you get to the Big East tournament. I wish DePaul was there. I wish we got DePaul Marquette tomorrow. It feels weird saying it, but I wish somebody would have just put Villanova out of their misery so we didn't have to have this conversation. This team needed a game winner with 10 seconds left from Justin Moore to beat a DePaul team that had not won a single game in the Big East all season long. Like, what are we even talking about here, man? And if they beat Marquette without Tyler Kolek, we're going to put him in a dance? No.
It'll be
hard pass.
They may be in the dance now. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you don't think no matter what they're in, you don't believe that?
No, right now our fielding the 68 guys have Villanova as the third team out. They have them behind Indiana State and New Mexico, who are neither in the tournament, and they have Texas A&M in the dance. Okay, let's talk about Texas A&M here. Okay, they have 4 quad 3 losses. Here's who they've lost to. They lost to Ole Miss at home. Ole Miss stinks. They lost to LSU at home. LSU stinks. They lost to Arkansas at home. Arkansas stinks. They lost at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt stinks. They have a loss at home to South Carolina. That's a quad 2 loss for the record. They lost at home to your Memphis Tigers, John Martin. They lost at Arkansas. They got swept by Arkansas. And here are the wins that they have. Look, they beat Tennessee at home by 16. That is a great win. They beat Kentucky at home in overtime. That is a great win. at Ohio State? Are we really that proud of winning at Ohio State? That was like a quad 3 win until Jake Deaver showed up and saved their damn season. Yeah. They won at SMU. Who gives a damn about SMU? What are we doing? Texas A&M is in the tournament right now. Am I losing my mind? Am I taking crazy pills? They suck. They're terrible. What are we doing here? I got to talk to the 68 guys.
Well, yeah, I mean, for the Field and 68 guys, I was really going to bat for you before the show started. I obviously don't have control over what happens in the offseason, but it does feel like this year, and I don't know, I'd have to look back, Rob, but it feels like this year, when you get past the top 4, that 4 line, that there's just like, there's no quality. There's no quality. Am I show me one team outside that 4 line that you could look at and say, yeah, they can make a run. And usually like last year, you had multiple teams in the Final Four past the 4 line. And this year, it just feels really, really weak, man. It feels like there's a gigantic drop-off. And that's why teams like Villanova, A&M, Michigan State, Kansas State, et cetera, are going to maybe be able to find their way in because it's so damn weak this year.
Yeah, and look, the thing that frustrates me more than anything else when it comes to getting teams in the tournament, not necessarily seeding them, right? When it comes to getting teams into the tournament is the avoidance of losses. Like, I understand that Texas A&M is playing in the SEC. I get that the SEC is a better league than the Missouri Valley is. But I promise you that if you gave Indiana State 18 chances at SEC teams, if you told them that you're going to get 9 SEC teams at home, the Indiana State would be able to get like close to a 500 record. They'd be able to put up some kind of season where they would have a resume that looks similar to what these other bubble teams are doing. Right. The problem is, and I went back and forth with someone today about this.
The problem is they don't have that access, Rob. That's the problem. Yeah. They don't have the at-bats.
Yeah. They were like, Indiana State lost to 2 high major teams, both of them by double digits. You know where they lost to those 2 games, those 2 teams? On the road. Okay. Don't talk to me about how bad these losses are, how bad a team is losing to a high major team until someone will go play there. All right. Go to Terre Haute. Go play them on their own floor. Go play them in the building that Larry Bird built, right? Until that happens, I don't want to hear about the struggling with the mid-major teams and then struggling with these high major teams and what the record is against the top level. Everything's on the road, man. We know how hard it is to win on the road in college basketball. How many ranked teams this season lost on the road to unranked teams? It was a record. I think it was like 37% of the time the ranked team won on the road against an unranked team in league play. And you're going to sit here and tell me that Indiana State can't make the NCAA tournament because they won 28 games, but the 2 times they played on the road against a high major opponent who wins their games at home against ranked teams, that's why they're out. Come on, man. I understand that the deck is stacked against mid-major teams, right? It's not fair the way that it works. But when you have someone that can do what Indiana State does, that has done what New Mexico does, reward them. Don't reward Texas A&M, who has 4 quad 3 losses. What the fuck is the point of a quadrant system if you have 4 quad 3 losses, you're 4-10 against quadrant 1, and you're going to get into the NCAA tournament? What are we doing here, man? Blow it up. Blow up the system. Why are we here? Why are we having this conversation? It's ridiculous.
Here's the thing, like, it's almost an argument for what we've sort of railed against doing, which is expanding the tournament. It's almost an argument. Everything you're saying is if you expanded this to 76, for example, maybe Indiana State is in. But I'm too cynical to believe that shit. I'm too cynical to believe that shit because we're already seeing it in the college football playoff. When the field expands, it ain't for the guy in the mid-major.
Look, John, let's be honest.
It's right? Getting more power league teams in.
There's one reason why the tournament is expanding. One single reason why the NCAA would okay this. It's because they are trying to appease the athletic directors and the conference commissioners at the Big Ten and the SEC who want to leave, who want to get the hell out, who want to say, oh, you know what? We could do a tournament and we'll keep all the money for ourselves. That's the only reason it's expanding, is to be able to appease those guys. And you think these dudes that are expanding the tournament? Brett Yormark the other day, did you see what he said? You see his quote? He's like, we need to make sure that we can get more of our teams into the NCAA tournament. Motherfucker, you're getting 11 in already. We're talking about Kansas State, who went 19-13. Yeah. Look, Jerome Tang, you're my guy. I love you, right? You had a great season this year when you lost 2 of your top 6 players, but the profile you have right now is not as good as the profile for Indiana State, all right? These Big 12 teams that we're arguing about on the bubble there's going to be 10 of them in already. Brett Yormark, you don't need more teams in. You already got 71% of your league in the tournament. What are we talking about here? What are we doing?
Yep.
That is why they're expanding, is to be able to give more access to these teams in the power conferences. They're not going to give it to the mid-majors. Now, if you were to sit here and tell me, John, if we were to put pen to paper and say we are going to expand it to a 76-team tournament, and you have to be able to get 3 mid-major regular season champions that don't win the automatic bid, that I'm good with. Okay, that means Indiana State's in the dance. That means somebody like an Appalachian State's in the dance. That means you get some at-large bids from the mid-major ranks. I'm good with that.
No chance you're getting
No
that.
chance you're getting that.
Yeah.
No chance you're getting that.
Do you think Indiana State would be in if the field was 76 this year?
Yes, I do. I think that their resume is strong enough that they'd be able to get. If you added 8 more teams, go look at like the next 4 out.
You're right, man. I hope you're right.
Go look at the next 4 out. Like, it gets really ugly.
I know, man. But damn,
it's bad.
I do think you're right. I do think, you know, it's too good. It's too obvious this year. But there are going to be some years, Rob, where you know it ain't going to be that obvious as a 30-win non-power league team. And that team probably deserves to get in, but they still won't. And that's why it's like, you know, I just roll my eyes at all of it. You know, I wish it was the better system. But we're going to be joined by Jeff Goodman here in just a minute. He is at the Big 12 tournament. Figured we should hit on this before we get to break, Rob. Kansas just running out of gas here. I don't know how else to put it. Just don't have the horses. And they just got their doors blown off tonight by 20, 72-52. And I guess it really just comes down to, for Kansas now, Rob, getting one of the two back between Hunter Dickinson and Kevin McCullough, ideally both, right?
Yeah, and we're going to get an update. Goodman was able to catch up with both Hunter Dickinson and Kevin McCullough after the game. So when we get back from the break, we'll be able to catch up with both of them, and we'll be hearing from both of well, not hearing from both of them, but hearing about both of them, I guess. Goodman is saying that he has an update, but this is the team that's lost 4 out of their last 5. I think that this is definitively the worst Kansas team that we have seen in the Bill Self era. And I don't think that that's even a subjective point of view, right? They haven't had this many losses in league play with Bill Self as their coach. They lost by 20 to Cincinnati tonight. They lost by 30 to Houston in the last game of the regular season. They had another 29-point loss at Texas Tech earlier this year. Like, they're just not good right now. And some of that is an issue of health. And some of that is like, this is just not a great roster. It wasn't constructed well. They don't have a lot of shooting. It's very clearly like a top 4, and they don't have a 5th guy. Maybe if they had Arterio Morris, it would be different. But at the end of the day, like, I just kind of think that Kansas kind of stinks, and that's just where we are right now. Am I off?
We'll get the latest from Jeff Goodman from the Big 12 championship on the status of Kevin McCullough and Hunter Dickinson. Maybe they can come in and save the day. We'll get to all of that and more on the other side. Field at 68 after dark. Back after this.
The best month of the year is here, which is why you need to know that we are now partnered with BetMGM. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers of the Field of 68 throughout the conference and NCAA tournament. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, you can use the bonus code FIELD150, and you'll get $150 in free bets on your first wager with BetMGM, regardless of whether or not that bet hits. Here's how you make it work. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using the bonus code FIELD150. Deposit at least $5 and place your first wager on any game, and you get $150 in free bets regardless of the outcome. Just make sure you use that bonus code FIELD150 when you sign up. And most importantly, we have some fun stuff coming up for the conference tournaments and for the NCAA tournament. Bet insurance tokens, college hoops odds boosts, and what I love the most, a nice little parlay boost, as well as a ridiculous array of prop bets for anything that you could possibly imagine betting on in March and in early April. BetMGM is the king of the prop bet. So go download the BetMGM app, use Field 150 is the code, and sign up today. And while I've got you here, a quick request. The best way to support the Field of 68 content that you get here for absolutely free is to engage with it. Rate and review the podcast. Like and share YouTube videos. Tell your friends about us. It all helps in a world where the algorithm is king. And now, back to our show.
Welcome back, Field of 68 After Dark. And as promised, we're now joined for the rest of the show by the incorrigible Jeff Goodman live from the Big 12 tournament.
John, he looks good tonight, doesn't he?
I mean, for him, it's always on a curve. But, yes, you look homeless. You looked homeless in some of those coaches' interviews, so you dressed up nicely, you cleaned up. All right, you're digging around there at the Big 12.
My man made a trip to J.C. Penney to pick up a new blazer. I'm impressed,
Right.
Jeff.
This was no. This was the streets of Charleston, baby. Back after our boy Cam Jones ripped on me for my horrible fashion sense at FAU.
You stepped up. There's no doubt about it.
I did.
What did you learn? What did you learn after Kansas got their doors blown off by Cincinnati? Obviously, very shorthanded. Two of those players they need back, Kevin McCullough and Hunter Dickinson. You have updates on. What can you tell us?
Yeah, I talked to Kevin McCullough, and he told me he'll be back. You know, this was more of a precautionary deal, just to get the rest that he needed. He said this has been a problem since the last time they played Cincinnati, and it's been kind of off and on with this deep knee bruise. And he said he's feeling better, and trust me, Kevin McCullough and Hunter Dickinson are going to play. They're going to play in the NCAA tournament. The question is, you know, how effective they're going to be after missing this time, right? Obviously, they're veterans, but it's still, you're throwing them back into a situation that doesn't look very promising to begin with. I mean, we saw it tonight, guys. One guy showed up for Kansas tonight. One guy. It was like playing 1-on-5. That's what I felt like watching this game tonight. It was KJ Adams against 5 Cincinnati players. And KJ Adams was a warrior, an absolute warrior tonight, on the glass, scoring, doing everything he could. But ultimately, obviously, he needs help. And if you get a healthy 100% Hunter Dickinson and Kevin McCullough with KJ Adams, then DeJuan Harris can be DeJuan Harris. Tonight he had he took 11 shots. He needed to take 20 shots tonight, legitimately, and he only made 3. Furphy was awful. Timberlake wasn't good. El Marco had that. Like, they just don't have enough guys. And now you're going to throw these guys back into the mix because, you know, and I think it was the right thing to do, to sit both of them. Hunter wasn't ready. McCullough said he probably could have played, but again, it didn't make sense because ultimately they know what they're playing for, which is right. Agreed. They knew that. Bill Self knows that. He's smart enough to understand, you know, they haven't had a great regular season anyway. Yeah, it'd be great to get a Big 12 tournament champion, but like, nobody's going to care in Kansas at the end of the day. They want them to get past the first weekend at the very least. And with a healthy McCullough and Dickinson, if they're at 90%, they can win 2 games. And then who knows? But like, win 2 games and not be, you know, honestly, not be the you know, first round exit, which really you look at them and you're like, they could easily be.
Yeah, Rob, what do you think realistically? Go ahead. You're going to make a point there.
No, I was just going to say, like, it looked very much tonight like they didn't want to be there. That was my biggest takeaway.
Oh, I don't think it was that. No. I don't think it was that. I honestly don't. Like, they just didn't play well. Like, Johnny Furphy couldn't make a shot. He looked tired. I don't think it was that he didn't want to be there. Timberlake couldn't make a shot. Well, he hasn't made a shot all season. Right? Like, they don't have enough. They should have pulled Zach Clements out of the red shirt 3 months ago. Zach Clements would have helped tonight. I can't believe still that he never came out of his red shirt. I know it was a deal made before the season, but man, Zach Clements would have played 25 minutes tonight, and he would have helped him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you're confusing Kansas with Jeff Goodman. Jeff Goodman didn't want to be there tonight.
Well, it wasn't the game I thought I was going to get. Hey, when I signed up for the Big 12 tournament, no, I thought I was going to get Kansas with some dudes. Instead, we got Kansas with some, really some role guys and guys that honestly shouldn't play at Kansas.
So, Rob, moving forward, obviously Bill Self's a legend and one of the best to ever do it in the sport. But, what do you think for him? And the season's not over, but, I mean, we've got enough of a sample size. We know the challenges with this group. Like, what do you think he needs to take out of this season and why it looked so promising at the start and why it has ended, at least in the regular season, so kind of, roughly?
I mean, did it look promising at the start? At the start of the season, it was like, okay, they're finding ways to win.
Didn't you have him like 1 or 2? You had him. I had him. Everybody had him preseason top 5.
Well, yeah, preseason, yeah, but then we saw them play, and it was like, okay, well, they're scraping out wins like at Indiana. They barely won that game. That's just
what I mean, right? They were preseason. They were consensus top 3 team in the preseason, right? I mean, we knew what the roster was, and we still ranked them there.
Yeah, but we thought that getting Timberlake was going to be, I don't want to say the impact that Cam Spencer has had at UConn, but like a little bit closer to that level than what he's been this year. And if you get Nick Timberlake playing a little bit closer to that level and you still have Arterio Morris in the mix, then all of a sudden you can bring Elmarco Jackson on a little bit slower. And then all of a sudden Johnny Furphy, instead of being your 5th starter, is your 7th man. And we're having a completely different conversation about what this team is because you got 2 guys that could sit there and be rotation level 30-minute a game players. Whereas Johnny, like Furphy's really good, but you want him to be a 20-minute a game off the bench guy where you can bring him in. And if he's hitting shots, like, good, let's roll with this dude. This is his night. And when he's missing, you don't have to play him 32 minutes like you did tonight. Elmarco Jackson is a dude that you want to use the same way that, like, you want to use him as like a 15-minute a night game guy so you could develop him so that next season he could be the guy that's ready to replace DeJuan Harris when DeJuan Harris is ready to head off to the professional ranks wherever he goes. That's the problem, is that they lost their depth because they lost the guy that they thought was going to be their starting 2 guard, and the guy that they thought would be able to step into that role is not good enough to be able to do it. So the top 4, like Kevin McCullough, DeJuan Harris, KJ Adams, Hunter Dickinson, show me a better top 4 in America. Like those 4 are on par with UConn's. I would make the argument that top 4 is better than the top 4 on Houston, right? It's probably better than the top 4 on Baylor, but there's just not enough. And then when you combine that with the fact that Kevin McCullough is now playing like every other game, and when he plays, you don't know if he's going to be able to go the full 40 minutes. And now Hunter Dickinson has a shoulder that's not attached. Gottlieb the other day had a great line. He said it's a good thing he pulled out his right shoulder because he only goes left anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But I like that's kind of what happened. It's a 4-man team, and you lost 2 of those 4 guys.
Right. I mean, doesn't give him any bullets. Doesn't give him any bullets right now. Again, I think Rob summarized it pretty well. And part of it was Bill Self he told people he thought Arterio Morris was going to make a huge impact this year for him. I never quite believed that. But again, in Bill Self, we trust, right? He's the best coach in the country. He's going to figure this thing out. He's going to develop some of these guys off the bench. They haven't developed. Timberlake hasn't gotten better. Parker Brown is what he is. Elmarco Jackson is what he is. You don't have Clements. Like, they just don't have enough on this Kansas team. And again, I'd be shocked if they go past the Sweet 16. And honestly, they're kind of that team that you're going to look at in your bracket. And if it's a 3-4 team, which it probably will be, maybe they'll be a 4 at this point. But I think they're a 3 or 4 seed. You're probably going to say, you know what? If it's a pretty good, 14 or 13 seed that you think has enough dudes, you might take them.
Hey, right now in our Feeling of 68 bracket, they're matched up with Oakland. Yeah. Give me the Fighting Great Campies, baby.
Yeah.
Goodman, you're there at the Big 12 tournament. Pretty significant upset. Texas closes as a 6-point favorite over Kansas State. And what was the second? I mean, it was a blistering second half by Kansas State. Looked like Texas was in control. They get outscored by 14 there in the second half, kind of out of nowhere. And now Texas is done. They are out of the Big 12 tournament. Kansas State moving on. What are we to make of Texas and the Longhorns, Jeff?
Well, I think we start with Kansas State. I do. I think that's the bigger story right now. I am taking it. I'm taking it because it was just, one of those things where if I was a host, I would have went straight to Kansas State. So I'm going to pretend like you asked me about Kansas State there, and then we'll get to Texas. But I think it was more impactful for Kansas State because ultimately it puts them in a position to be in the NCAA tournament, right? Like they're a step away. If they beat Iowa State tomorrow, we're going to be talking about them. We're going to be talking about them having a chance to be a real NCAA tournament team and kind of a bid stealer here, not even having to win the Big 12 tournament. But, listen, what Jerome Tang's done this year, pretty impressive, right? You lose Naquan Tomlin, who's probably your best player, second best player. He gets kicked out of school and goes to Memphis and loses a ton of games in your hometown. And then they're without the Glover kid, right? They're without Glover. And I don't know how good he would have been. I think he would have been a nice piece transferring over from Samford. But whatever the case, you're down two of your top probably 6 or 7 players, and you're still in the equation right now. But they played well tonight. I don't know if they can beat Iowa State because Iowa State's culture is what it is and they guard and all that. I'll just say this, like we all know, it's not like Iowa State runs out a bunch of pros out there. They just find a way to win games. But again, Iowa State, what are they playing for? What are they really – they're playing for their culture, for winning this thing. I get it all, but, like, they're probably a 2 seed whether they win or lose tomorrow, where Kansas State is playing for their tournament lives at this point.
Right. See, I hate this. I hate this mindset. This is the not Big East mindset. What are they playing for in the Big 12 tournament? To win the Big 12 tournament. What are we talking about? They have plenty
but it's not
of
the same level. It's not the same level of motivation as Kansas State. Right. Kansas State is playing for everything right now. They see it right in front of them. You don't think Jerome Tang is telling them when they went in the locker room tonight, hey, great win, boys, but we haven't done shit. We have to win tomorrow night. Now, he probably didn't swear like I just swore. But the bottom line is, guys, you have to win tomorrow night if you want to punch your ticket to the NCAA tournament. It's not enough. What we did tonight, just a stepping stone to get to where we need to be, which is beating Iowa State tomorrow night.
Hey, John, do you remember what happened exactly 4 days ago today? It was exactly 4 days ago on March 9th. Do you remember what happened
4 days ago today?
Iowa State went on the road into the Octagon of Doom. And you know what they did? They got beat. They got dropped. Jerome Tang knows how to beat Iowa State. I would not be surprised if it happened tomorrow. And honestly, Goodman, correct me if I'm wrong here. I feel like that will probably end up being the best atmosphere that you get in the Big 12 tournament is that game tomorrow night. Is Kansas State against Iowa State.
I don't know if anybody's – yeah, I mean, yes. I don't think there's going to be any great atmosphere tomorrow because all the Kansas fans left. The happiest people in the building today were the Kansas State fans that waited and absolutely were basking in the glory that was the Kansas loss after they just beat Texas and they hung around because they knew there was no way in hell Kansas was winning that game.
Yeah, but see, that's the difference, right? That's the difference between when I'm here in this chair and you're in this chair. You want to talk about potential NIT teams. You want to talk about some bullshit, all right? Kansas State still got to do some work, all right? I want to talk about teams that are in. I want to talk about teams that are in the field of 68. I believe that is the company name. It's not the field of maybe if they do this, they get in. So and you still didn't answer my Texas question. So what are we to make of the team that's actually projected to make it?
I'll say this, Texas has talent, and I think we knew this going into the year, but we just don't trust Texas. They're one dude away. They're one big scoring wing away, and it wasn't Ron Holland who left to go to whatever G League Ignite because he can't shoot. But that's what they're missing. And Max Abmas didn't shoot the ball great tonight. Tyrese Hunter was awful offensively, really bad. And their bigs are just okay, right? Dylan Disu's not what he was. You don't know if he's healthy or not from game to game. Caden Shedrick has trouble scoring. And I thought Texas had this game. And honestly, you watch kind of how Kansas State, was able to kind of turn it on in the second half and really get some easy looks and get to the line whenever they wanted. And I was surprised. I was surprised a little bit because Texas is the far more talented team.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what kind of run, if any, they can make here in the tournament. Because you're right, they got the horses, but how many? We'll see. We have a lot more to come. We'll catch up with Eric Henderson. We'll catch up with some other coaches who have punched their ticket. Pat Kelsey. Stick around. You're watching Field of 68 After Dark, Sirius XM, YouTube, Facebook, X. We'll be back after this.
By now, you guys have surely heard about Autograph, an app founded by Tom Brady with the intention of disrupting the way that fans consume content covering their favorite teams. This is how the app works. All of the podcasters, bloggers, and digital creators covering a team have their content sent to that team's page in the Autograph app. Instead of having to bounce from site to site or trying to navigate the safer workspaces on Twitter, you can just scroll through Autograph. This isn't a hard sell. This is the truth. I am a UConn fan, and I use the Autograph app to keep up with the writers I read and the pods that I listen to about UConn basketball. The best part is that every piece of content that you consume gives you reward points. The more you get, the more chances you have at things like discounted tickets to games and the grand prize, a trip to the LA Regional and a spot in a suite for the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 games. Here's the best part. We've partnered with Autograph to donate $1 to the V Foundation every time someone downloads the app using the code F68, with a minimum of $2,500 getting donated. The app is free, so download, use the code F68, help us raise a little bit of money for cancer research, and give Autograph a try. I promise you it will be worth it. And while we're here, a quick reminder, make sure that you subscribe to the Daily. We have new landing pages with deep dives into each coaching change, as well as a tracker that provides scouting reports on the transfers that have entered the portal that you are going to want to know about. Hit the link below to subscribe. Welcome back to the Field of 68 After Dark. Rob Dauster, John Martin, Jeff Goodman, and we got to talk about some of the automatic bids here. Gentlemen, McNeese State punched their ticket tonight. Will Wade is back in the NCAA tournament. How do you not love a world where Will Wade is back in it? That's a hard thing to say. Love a world where Will Wade is back in the NCAA tournament. McNeese State, baby. Goodman, we have him right now projected to play the Kentucky Wildcats in a 4-13 game in the South Region. Come on, man. Shahada Wells against Rob Dillingham and Reed Shepard. I'm here for it. I am all the way here for it.
Listen, what Will Wade has done to absolutely run that league this year from start to finish is nothing short of amazing. It really is. I mean, again, when he took that job, everybody's like, all right, you know what? Like, he'll get it going, but it might take him a couple of years. It's McNeese State. They haven't had any success in a long time. In fact, I was down there. I saw McNeese State play against LSU and Ben Simmons' college debut. How about that? They were terrible under Dave Simmons then. And again, Will Wade, because of his familiarity in that region too, he was able to kind of pick up and go right away. I talked to him a couple weeks ago. And, you know, a lot of this stuff's been going on. Obviously, is Will Wade going to be in the mix for some of these bigger jobs? And Will told me straight out, he was like, listen, I love it here. I love it here. I can stay here for another year or two, no problem, and not worry. Like, I don't need to go back to the high major level today, even if they do come calling. He's having fun there. He knows he can win at the highest level in that league right now. And he feels wanted. He's got an AD, Heath Schroyer, who hired him when a lot of people thought he was nuts. Schroyer was a former head coach at Wyoming, assistant at NC State. He's been around. He's a basketball guy. And those two have made a pretty good match so far at McNeese State.
Oh, John Martin doesn't have audio right now. We're working on through a technical difficulty over here. Listen, I want to pivot to South Dakota State. We watched them late last night. Head coach Eric Henderson joined us on the. He's going to join us here in just a second. But they've now won 8 straight games. Goodman. They won against Denver, the 7th seed, in the Summit League tournament title game. They've won 10 of their last 11. This is not your quintessential Summit League South Dakota State champion. They don't have that, like, normally when I think of Summit League teams, It's top 20 kind of an offense, bottom 200 kind of a defense. They're going to put up 95. They might give up 94 every night that they're out there. They'll find a way to win, but that's what they do. That's not exactly this team, but what they got, Zeke Mayo, stud point guard, a bunch of vets, and a coach who brings more energy to the game than just about anybody I've met in the coaching profession.
Yeah, no, Eric Henderson's done a heck of a job. Remember, he took over when TJ Otzelberger left South Dakota State after a couple of years and went to UNLV for a minute. Now, obviously, thriving at Iowa State. Hendu's done a great job. A couple of years ago, I saw them play in the NCAA tournament. Again, like you said, he brings energy. A player's coach, but a guy who can also get after his guys a little bit. And remember, they had Baylor Shireman then. And what did he do? He left after that game and went and took the money and went to the highest level. He chose Creighton over Nebraska at that point. But Eric Henderson's, been able to kind of get that thing back. They started slow this year, kind of like they did a year ago, Rob, but they've come on strong late.
Yep. Mike Dahm, Nate Walters, Baylor Shireman, and now they got the guy with the best name out of the group, Zeke Mayo. Let's go to that interview right now with South Dakota State head coach Eric Henderson. And now let me welcome onto the field of 68 South Dakota State head coach Eric Henderson, fresh off of winning the Summit League championship. Eric, you got your Selection Sunday guarantee locked up. How you feeling right now, my man?
Oh, I'll tell you what, it's pretty special. I know this place is empty right now, but there was a lot of blue in here that carried us through at the end because we got off to such a great start. But we kind of limped to the end, and but at the end of the day, you only need to win by one, boys.
You did that. You won by a few more than one. We got him by 8. But this year's been kind of a strange year for you, right? I mean, you got off to a little bit of a slow start, pushed the right buttons to get here. What was it about this year, kind of again, what enabled you to kind of flip the switch a little bit with these guys?
Yeah, it's been an incredible journey. As an educator, I mean, I'm all about growth and learning, right? And talk about a team that's grown. Holy cow! That's why it's so special. But at the beginning of the year, right before games started, we had one of our seniors break his foot, and he didn't play until after Christmas. And he's one of the best connectors that I've ever been around, and it shook us. And we were in close games. We battled Central Florida to the buzzer. George Mason, we won at Southern Miss. We won at Wichita State. We had some good wins, but we just maybe not as many as we would have liked. And but we never lost the faith. And once Mimsy got back, you could just see our steady growth. And then I'll be frank too. I didn't do a very good job early putting our guys in probably the best position to be successful. We tweaked a few things that we were doing, and holy cow, a spark plug was lit.
So you've won 3 straight in the Summit League tournament. You've now won 8 in a row overall, and you've now won 10 out of your last 11. You are the dual Summit League champion. What's going to be the key for you guys to be able to pull off an upset? I know you don't know who you're playing yet, but to pull off an upset once you get into the NCAA tournament, like what is clicked for you?
Well, the most important thing we have to do is we have to take care of the basketball and rebound. When you're playing, I mean, let's be realistic, right? We're going to be
That's
playing.
The most coach answer I've ever heard in my life.
Well, let's be realistic. We're going to be playing a school that's probably pretty, has some pretty athletic and larger dudes than us. And but that doesn't mean we can't win, right? We've got to be able to make sure we make them earn everything. And so we got to take care of the basketball. We got to rebound. And we've been pretty good at that. We've made some great strides in that. And you look at our offensive efficiency, we're maybe not quite as good as we were offensively as we were 2 years ago when we were, had a really, that undefeated season. But we're different. But that doesn't mean we're not as good. And so we're super excited for whoever we get to play.
Welcome back, Field of 68 After Dark. That was Eric Henderson, who Goodman, he locked in his Selection Sunday guarantee. All right, we also had one other winner last night, another friend of the program. It was Charleston's Pat Kelsey, our city, Jeff. Our city is back in the NCAA tournament. I know that you're fired up. You are a Charleston fan at heart. We know it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm kind of a resident there. And I will be hopefully a full-time resident there at some point soon. But what Kelsey's done there is really impressive, right? I mean, again, you see it. He's energized the fan base and now won 2 titles in a row. Now, again, it's the best job in the league. He's got the resources to do it, but he's done it. And he did it with kind of a different group this year. Lost some key pieces. Dalton Bolin was phenomenal last year. And that's the difference in this year's team, right? They don't have that same kind of self-made energy. They're a little quieter. We were around them down at FAU at the Field of 68 Classic Invitation, or whatever we called it, earlier this year. But
the
Benny
Field
Burnham.
68 tip-off. It's our event. You can't even get the name right.
Tip-off. No, I really do. I screw it up every time. But listen, they found a way, and it was entertaining as hell to watch them. The semifinals and the championship game, because again they were tested. I mean, Towson had them on the ropes, and then Stony Brook wouldn't go away. And listen, they're a culture program now. That's kind of what Kelsey's done in Charleston right now. He's kind of made them a culture program where those guys know they're going to be coached. They need to have toughness, or else they're not going to work in Charleston.
Right.
Yep. And listen, we caught up with Charleston head coach Pat Kelsey on the bus last night. And if you want to understand why it's a culture program, all you got to do is see this interview. And now let me welcome on to the Field of 68, our city, Charleston head coach Pat Kelsey, fresh off of winning the CAA Tournament Championship. Pat, what's going on, man? You look like you're doing pretty well over there.
Hey, Rob. Hey, Goody. Hey, fellas. Rob and Jeff Goodman are on a national broadcast here. Say hello.
Congrats, boys.
These are some of the funnest. I don't know if funnest is a word. My Xavier education. Funnest sounds good, but these are some of the great bus rides, man. Locker room celebration is special. There's nothing like it.
Hey, Kels, what was this one like? Last year, we know it was kind of magical because, again, it came out of nowhere a little bit. This year was different. Expectations, some of the same guys, but different roles, a lot of different players. What was this one like?
Last year's team was special. 31 wins, top 25 team. We hadn't been to the tournament in several years. And the city, you're here for several months out of the year. The city was just really, really energized. And then we returned 3 players, and somehow we're picked number 1 in our league to start the season. And obviously the expectations were really, really high. And this team was constantly being compared to last year's team. And, they put their own stamp on Charleston basketball. This is a special team and a special group of guys. And we're excited about going to, as Skip used to call it, the national tournament.
Hey, Kels.
Mark that down.
Hey, Kels, we're putting our house in the market, so you're going to see a lot more of me. We're going to go down. Oh, yeah, we're going down. We're renting to buy. So you better be looking. When the season's over, I want you to be my quasi-realtor. All right? You got to get after it here.
I got a guy.
No, I want you to do it. I don't want a guy. I want to put you. I know you.
I'll help you from that standpoint if you help me figure out the best restaurants in Charleston, because I think you frequent every single one.
Done. We got a deal. Hey, we got a deal. But I know you. You're a bulldog. You're a bulldog. As my realtor, if you're anything like you are as a coach, you're going to get shit done for me.
Yeah, that's my deal. I'm a bulldog, I guess.
All right, listen.
Skip.
Congrats.
Hey. If you say I make coffee nervous.
Kels, congrats. Back to back.
There he is. Benny Burnham.
There he is. We need one quote from Benny.
Oh, there we go. The MVP
Johnny.
right there. The MVP
Johnny
right
Ballgame.
there.
Say hi to Rob and Jeff.
What's up, Johnny? Hey, Johnny.
Johnny, hold on, Jeff's asking you a
Johnny. Who's the best coach in the country, Johnny?
What?
Who's the best coach in the country?
My dad.
There you go. There you go. All right, listen, we're going to let you get out the bus. Congrats, and we'll see you soon.
I really needed that kid to say Dan Hurley. I really would. Dead early.
I'll get him to do it when I go back to Charleston next year. I'll give him like $10. I'll give him. I'll give him like $10.
There you go. All right, we'll come back. We'll pick our. We'll give our conference tournament picks for the weekend. Rob and Jeff both presented by Baltic. So we'll do that when we get back. Field of 68 after dark.
There is nothing better in sports than tournament time, which is why I need to tell you guys about our partners over at Rhythm. If you're into sports betting, you need Rhythm, the place for data-backed props and picks. For those that are unfamiliar, Rhythm, spelled RITHMM, is the go-to mobile app for player props and game picks. Backed by AI predictive models, Rhythm helps you make smarter and faster betting decisions across all sports, but particularly college basketball. With Rhythm, you get data-backed picks for every single Division I game, every single day. Users get free picks daily with the ability to upgrade to unlimited access. If you want to increase your edge and win more bets, go to the link in the description and download Rhythm today. That's RITHMM, the place for data-backed props and picks. And while we're here, let me tell you about our newest partner for the month of March, Splash Sports, the home of certified community competition, where you get to play against your friends and not the house. Whatever game it is that you are playing, from survivors to tiers to pick X, the safest way to play for real money without the hassle of having to track down deposits or worry about payments is through Splash. They have partnered with PaySafe, the best deposit and payment system in the world, to ensure that money stays in safe hands and is delivered to the right places. To join the Field of 68 Survivor Madness, click the link in our profile below and join in. Entries are $5 a pop with a prize pool of up to $4,500. Winner take all. Join Splash and come prove that you're smarter than us.
Welcome back. Field of 68 after dark here on a Wednesday. Jeff Goodman is live from the Big 12 tournament. Rob Dauster is going to be getting out to the Big East tournament here in just a little bit. So
they gave me some beers, by the way. Hey, they literally gave me beers as I was walking onto the court. They gave me crappy seats, but they made it up by giving me beers.
There you go. Somebody
Jeff,
said,
"Look, Jeff, hold on, John. Let me take this, Jeff. If you want better seats, if you want to find a way to avoid having crappy seats at a basketball game that is expensive to get in, you need to download the Autograph app. They have ways to get you $16 tickets in the door for any event that you want to go to. Let's hear from the founders of the Autograph app right now. And now let me welcome onto the Field of 68 after dark, Joe Perez and Dylan Rosenblatt, who are the brains, and I'm calling you guys the brains behind Autograph, which is the app and the company that you see everywhere in college basketball right now. Dylan, talk to me about Autograph, kind of how it started, the genesis of this company, and what it is now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the company was founded in 2021 by Tom Brady with the goal of providing a brand new experience to fans and wanted to change something for the better. And we're a technology company, so we've tried a variety of different tech solutions to do it. And our latest product is the product I think hopefully you've seen if you're in the college basketball community, Autograph Fandom Rewarded, where we're trying to reward fans for doing things that they already do in brand new ways, whether it's listening to podcasts, going to games, reading articles. There's a variety of things that we're doing today and going to continue to do. But that contribution as a fan, we think, is incredibly meaningful. And no matter, there it is, the app, and no matter what chapter of the business it's been all about rewarding the fans for us and doing something brand new. So with this new app, hopefully we can do it at scale and take a platform approach to a lot of what we did in chapter one. So we're really excited about it. We've had the privilege of working with amazing people, from Tom to Tiger to some of the coolest people in sports, to Rob Dauster himself. So fired up to be on the show and be able to share a bit more about it.
Joe, how do people use this app?
Well, it's pretty simple, but what's been great is we took all of we worked with partners like yourselves to really try to create a place that was an all-in-one place for everything you could want in sports for your particular team. So you go into the app, you install the app, and you pick your team that you love. And we have all the content from either blogs, podcasts, now Twitter feeds, YouTube videos in there. And the coolest thing is that as you consume that content, you actually earn points. And that was kind of, as Dylan mentioned, our goal was how to try to figure out a way we could actually reward fans for doing things they already do. And a lot of what fans already do is they consume content generally on the open internet, but they don't get any credit for that. And we just kind of figured, like, hey, if we can give them credit for that and then also reward them as they earn those points and climb the ladder, then that would be really cool. So that's kind of how it works. You consume content, you check into games, you buy merchandise, you read, listen to a podcast, read a blog, and you get points. You also climb a leaderboard, which is cool. So because some people they love the rewards and the points, but they also just love to brag to their friends that they're the top of the leaderboard for their specific team.
Joe, for me, the most interesting part and probably the best part about this app to use as a fan is the access to the cheap tickets, man. $16 for events that are not that are a lot more expensive than $16 to get into. How do people get access to this? And where did you come up with this idea to be able to give people cheap tickets to games?
Yeah, we had this kind of internal slogan, like, it's cheap tickets, not cheap seats, right? So the whole idea was we kind of always wanted to make sure that we would give you a reward that would be a little bit more like, if your expectation was here, it was more like it kind of blew away that expectation. So as you guys know, cheap tickets are very expensive across the board. Then you add fees. If you have to buy in the secondary, they're extremely important. So we kind of looked at it and said, look, for the true fans that have leveled up and earned points showing how devoted they are, what if we could actually create something that would be tickets for really amazing prices? So we ended up really cutting those prices down to almost unbelievable prices, and we called it true fan pricing. But I think it's really working well, and people really love it, because I do think that most true fans have been priced out of the market, and we just wanted to, right that wrong, I guess.
All right. So Dylan, talk to me about the special you got going for the second weekend of the NCAA tournament.
Oh, you mean the totally free one? That one? No, but the $16 that we're doing across the board.
This one's good.
This one's good. Yeah. So for March Madness, just by downloading the app, being a part of it, engaging with us, we're going to give you the opportunity to get those tickets. But the big special is we're actually running something we're calling the Unleash Your Madness sweepstakes. So it's at the crypto.com arena for the round of 8, Elite 8, whatever you want to call it, where fans are going to be able to get to have an all expense paid trip to our box for them and 8 friends. So basically what you do is you download the app and you invite a friend for entry. There's actually only a couple of days left. You have today and tomorrow to get those votes in. We're choosing on Friday, and the fan that wins is going to get, it's 8 total. Them and 7 friends are going to be able to attend this suite at crypto.com stadium. It's actually called the Hideaway Suite. It's actually a double box that's been renovated. The company C360, shout out to our friends there, have put millions of dollars into making it one of the most special suite experiences in the country. So we're taking care of flights, hotels, VIP dinner, and getting a fan and their friends there to really do something special for fans for March Madness. And again, the way that you get in is just by downloading the app and inviting a friend, and then we're going to select a winner starting Friday. So we're excited to do that for fans, but along with that, we're going to be giving away and selling tickets to the Sweet 16 and other tournaments. So it's just part of our mission, again, to bring true fan pricing to as many people as possible.
Yeah, it's a great way to get access to games for relatively cheap, and it's also a great way to try to find a way to get to the Elite 8 for free. If you've never been to the NCAA tournament, it is a great experience. Hey, guys, remember, use the code F68 if you're going to download the app too, right? That's the best way to do it. Listen, this
works for us.
Joe Perez, Dylan Rosenblatt from Autograph. You've seen these guys everywhere in the college basketball space, and that's not going to stop for the next 4 weeks of March Madness. Gentlemen, appreciate you being here.
Good stuff there from Rob. Yeah, good stuff. Love that. Love everything about it. All right. It is that time of the night. Conference tournament week rolls on, and somehow you two bozos have come together and put together some picks, some tournament championship picks. These are, as always, presented by Vaulted, which is the place to store your predictions now and forever. So let's get to it, fellas, as we get out of here tonight. Let's start with the ACC. Rob Dauster, who you got?
Tar Heels. Tar Heels. They're the best team in this tournament, and it's not even close.
Jeff Goodman.
God, I hate to agree with Dauster on coming out of the gates. There's nothing worse than having to agree with Bobby D, but I have to agree with Bobby D on this one. So I'm going Tar Heels as well. It's hard to find a ton of holes with this Carolina team right now. I mean, it really is. They've got a little bit of everything, and they actually guard, and They play well kind of from
Cut
start
them
to
off,
finish
John.
this year.
Cut them off. We got 4 minutes. Stop rambling. Stop talking. Cut them off, John.
You're rambling.
Hey, John, you got to
I'm
let
done.
it fly. When Goodman
Move
starts
on.
rambling.
I'm
You gotta
down.
Let it fly.
Right. He's letting it fly. Your temps are way up.
All
All
right,
right,
let's go.
Big Ten. Who you
Let's
got,
go.
Rob?
I got the Fighting Illini. I think that they I love what they are offensively. I'm buying them defensively. I think that they have something to prove in the Big Ten tournament in Minneapolis. The Illini get it done. Lock that in, vaulted.
Goodman.
All right, listen, I'm rolling the dice here. I'm going Jake Diebler and the Ohio State Buckeyes. Like, I know it sounds bananas, but I do feel like somebody's going to come out of this Big Ten tournament because the league is so mediocre other than Purdue. And I do think Ohio State can beat Illinois. I do. So I'm going to take the Buckeyes.
Would it be? How funny would it be if they make a coaching change
we have
and
3
the
more to go.
interim gets into the dance?
I think Goodman's in a casino. He has no concept of time. Big 12, Rob Dauster.
Give me the Baylor Bears, baby. Scott Drew's going to find a way to get it done. I love the way they can shoot. I love Jacoby Walter. Scott Drew, baby. How could you bet against Scott Drew, Goodman?
I'm taking Iowa State because they're going to beat Kansas State, and then they're going to take down Scott Drew, and they're going to win this thing. They're going to win this thing because, again, it's a culture program. They're tough. They defend, and they got TJ Otzelberger.
Mm-hmm. Big East, Rob Dauster.
Bring me on camera, Trevor. Bring me on camera right there. Top dogs, baby.
What is that?
Top dog. You know
what is that autographed? Who's autographed that?
Khalid El-Amin. Who else would it be?
Khalid. A slim Khalid El-Amin.
He's always slim.
I'm taking UConn too, and I wish I had my poster of Jeff Adrian right here with me, but I don't.
We have 4 more to go.
Brookline High's finest.
We have 4 more to go. We don't have time for this in your life, Goodman. Jesus Christ. Pac-12, Rob Dauster.
Wazoo, baby. The Fighting Kyle Smiths are going to get the job done.
All right, Jeff Goodman. Just the school. No explanation.
Colorado. The Colorado Buffaloes, Tad Boyle.
SEC, Rob Dauster, go.
Big Blue Nation, no doubt about it. We just need a rematch. We need Kentucky, Tennessee again so I can prove Goodman wrong again.
Good. Yeah, I'm going the Vols here. They're still the best team. They're the team I actually can't believe I'm saying it, but I trust the most.
Mountain West, we have a minute, boys. Mountain West, Rob Dauster.
There's no doubt about it. It's going to be San Diego State. No one knows how to have success in a tournament like Brian Dutcher. The Aztecs get it done, Goodman.
Yeah, you know what San Diego State doesn't have, John Martin? Isaiah Stevens, the best point guard in the league. I'm taking the Rams. Ram.
Finally, the A-10. Who we got, Rob?
It's there's no doubt about this one. I'm locking this one in my vaulted app.
It wasn't
right here. There you go. It's the vaulted app. Bring me back, Trevor. The vaulted app right there. No doubt about it. VCU, the Rams, get it done, baby. Havoc is back.
There was a huge doubt. They almost lost tonight. I'm going Dayton Flyers all day, every day. Duran Holmes.
Ever in doubt. I got this championship, baby. The vault.